Today we're going to talk about pricing your video services. So welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh from Story King Studios, and we're a full-time video production company, and I've been doing this for over 20 years, and it's fun. It's great. I'm able to provide for my family, and Mike's able to provide for his family. So the two of us were able to eat off of doing this, which is fantastic. And so I'm going to talk about pricing, and I'm going to talk about what we've been doing for pricing. And as many of you know, budgets are shrinking. It's harder and harder to find jobs. There's more and more clients who want to get just really cheap pricing. And so while we have been, buying grip vans and gear and climbing higher and higher up the scale of production and doing more and more like $10,000 brand films, etc., clients, on the other hand, are trying to be like, hey, can we get $1,000 video? Can we get a $500 video? And I know that we're not the only ones in this situation. So one of the things we've done is not stop doing our $10,000 brand films, but we've added smaller packages. And those of you who are maybe newer in this, you're a couple years in or a year in, you're probably still at these smaller packages that we're kind of adding back in. So I want to talk about the pricing that we have. And also, yesterday, Mike released a video on his channel. Go check that out. Talking about some of our cheaper, more affordable pricing packages. And he got a lot of great comments on his video. So I'm not really going to respond to the comments directly. Mike and I have read over the comments, and there's some good thoughts in there. But one of the things Mike talked about is what's on the pricing page of our website for Story King. And so if you want to check that out, go to the storykingstudios.com. We have a pricing and packages page on our website. You can check that out. I'm going to talk about some of those packages, and I'm going to talk about some of our pricing because I want to put out there what we're doing. I also, want your feedback and thoughts because all of us are in this work together. We're all trying to figure out things that work and things that help us get jobs, get clients. So let's jump into that. Before I jump into talking about some of the packages that we're running, I'm just going to tease. I'm going to make a video on this. This is the pricing calculator that I use, that I've created over the years. And I'm able to create 3 different price quotes, all based on the same numbers. And so, for example, we've got a project coming up, and I can say, okay, we need a full day of pre-production with 2 of us. We need a full day of production with 2 of us. We're going to need this gear package. We need 2 days of post-production. We're going to have 2 revisions. We're going to make a clips library. We're going to add a voiceover. And this thing will create, like say this is going to be 2 days and 2 days. This is a spreadsheet. It'll dynamically update and create all these things. So it creates quotes for me super fast and easy. And I can be like, okay, well, this part's, 1,600, this is 28. This is going to be 27. I'll round that up to 28. And so the round number here is 7,200 based on all the, things that calculations that we've put together. And I basically run this as like, okay, what are our costs going to be? And then what do we need to do to, add our profit margins, etc. So I will go through this on another video because I bet there's a lot of you who are like, what? Can you show me this? So we'll come back to that in another video. But just to kind of fly over that, as we build our pricing, my point in saying all of that is there's real math going behind the numbers that we come up with. And so this math works for us. Everyone's math is different. So you got to find the math that works for you. And there's a lot of different ways to come up with your price and to come up with your minimum. I would say if you're like a solo freelancer, or even if you're a production company, like really whatever you are, what you want to figure out is how much do we need to make per month? What's the minimum we need to survive? Not that we're trying to be about survival, but what's the minimum you need to survive? Let me come back to, I'm doing kind of like a live edit thing here. Come back to my face. So figure out what do you need to survive? Let's pick a number, $4,000 a month. It's easy math, right? So say I'm a solo guy, I need $4,000 a month to survive. And there's 4 weeks in a month, so I need to make $1,000 a week. And there's 5 days in a week, so I need to make $200 a day. Easy math, right? And so you use those sorts of things to figure out what do you need to do. And then you have some sort of multiple that you figure out based on what's working for you. How many days in a week, days in a month are you going to work? Get paid to work, I should say, because you're going to work all the days, but how many days are you getting paid to work? Because it's never all of them. Doesn't matter who you are, you're not getting paid to work every single day. If you are, call me because I need to talk to you. What days are you getting? How many days are you going to get paid to work? Maybe it's half the days. Maybe it's a quarter of the days. Maybe it's less than that. And this is where people get day rates. And it's like, hey, I'm $5,000 a day because I know I need to make $5,000 in a month and I'm only going to work 1 day a month. So I'm $5,000 a day because I know I'm only going to get that 1 day a month. Whatever that math is for you, you figure that out. And so you kind of know I need to make X amount per day to hit my goals. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the packages that we have. So these packages are kind of our response to the idea of, hey, can we just hire you for an hour? Hey, can we hire you for 2 hours? And the answer is yes, but obviously at a more premium rate than if you're hiring us for a full day. So the idea of like, hey, can we just get a videographer to come out for an hour? Sure, $400 an hour. We'll come out. We'll bring a camera, we'll bring a gimbal, we'll bring a microphone, no lights, super simple. We're just going to come out and make your thing happen. This doesn't include editing. This is just raw footage. So this is one example of a way that we're pivoting to create these smaller packages. Now, obviously, we can't come out for $100 an hour. Like, we're going to be losing money at that point. So we have to charge a rate that's reasonable for us, for the gear, for the overhead we have insurance, we have all these expenses that don't go away just because a client wants us for 1 hour. So you got to think about those things. We also have like an editing rate, like, hey, $125 an hour, we'll edit for you, you give us the footage, and we just do this on an hourly basis. So for clients who are looking to save a little cash, we have these options. Another thing that we do are these clip sessions. And I've called this so many different things over the years. But the idea of selling not raw footage, but edited clips. So it's like, we're going to go shoot, we're going to get the raw footage, and then we're going to make our selects, and then we're going to throw color on those, and we're going to export those selects as individual video files and give them to the client. So for example, this is like, hey, we come out for an hour, we're going to get 20 clips, and usually we're going to over deliver. And it can be talking head, it can be B-roll, it can be, a lot of this is like social media content. And it's like, hey, it's $45 a clip or $900, but you position it as $45 a clip because that sounds a whole lot better than it's $900 for us to come out for 1 hour. So, and the reason I'm sharing all this is to give you guys ideas, number one, and to get your feedback. So as you guys are seeing these things, let us know what you think, and let us know what you think about these ideas. And so we have, come up with different options for different amounts of that. Another option is to come up with kind of like a basic versus premium idea of different kinds of videos. Again, like talking head videos. Like, hey, if we come out and do, and actually the video that Mike was playing a preview of it is a sample of, as I break my whole table, of this premium 5 talking heads. So 2 of us come out with lights, with teleprompter for 2 hours, and the price is $1,200. And that's going to cover 2 of us coming out, 2 hours, bringing lights, the whole setup. So the idea is we come out, we spend 45 minutes setting up a nice, beautiful scene. You get maybe 30 minutes to run through your scene, maybe 45 to run through your 5 talking head pieces on a teleprompter, and then we break it down and get out. And that's the idea of a package like this. And so you get 5 professionally produced talking head videos that are nice, lit, the whole bit for $1,200. Or if that's too much for you, client, then we also have a basic version, which is 1 guy, 1 camera, 1 hour, no lights, no teleprompter, and that's $700. It's like there is some editing time in this, so we can't just charge you for an hour shooting and say, here's the raw footage. Like, we do have to edit these. We got to make sure that we chop the ends off and all these things, but it's not a lot of editing. It's like an hour of editing to make these. So we're not charging a lot for the editing time, but we do have to charge something because we do have to import the footage. We got to export, we got to send it. Like, there's time, big bill for all that time. So those are some ideas we have. The final versions of all these packages are on the website, so you can see like all the final stuff on the website. This is kind of a working document as we were creating some different things. So just to kind of look at 2 more options that we're offering, something like a nice professional promo around $5,000. It's a 1 to 2 minute promo. It's going to include full service. So we do pre-production, we do scripting, we do a half day of filming with a 2-person crew. You get interviews, B-roll, voiceover. And we make you a nice 1 to 2 minute promo. It's nice, it's professional, it's high quality, and it's like $5,000. Or If you want something nicer, we can do this elite brand film package. And this is like closer to 13,000. And it's going to be a 2 to 4 minute film. It's going to be 2 days of filming, a 3-person crew. We're also going to give you a 1-minute version. We're also going to give you a 50 clip content library. So there's a lot you have to work with as a client. And we've done this package many times, and clients love this package. What we've done is we've put all of these packages and more on a pricing page on our website, so that as clients come to us, they can see the options. Now, part of the problem, part of the tension with this whole thing is there are so many options. There's so many options. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of video production companies don't have packages or prices, and they just say custom quote. Everything's custom quote. And we did that for a long time, but I felt like there was just a lot of friction on that. And what would happen is clients would not reach out to us because like they'd hit the website, but then they just wouldn't reach out. And so as we put packages out, 1 to 2 months, we've put out that series of packages. And again, our pricing hasn't really changed. It's just that we're trying to create packages. And I've already had clients reach out and say, hey, can we get this package? Can we get this package? And that's been helpful because to this point, our process has been the classic, let's have a discovery call, then we're going to come up with a quote, and then we're going to give it to you. And then what happens a lot is we don't get a budget alignment because on the discovery call, they either don't know or don't want to give us their budget. We can sometimes get some kind of a gauge of where they're at, but a lot of times they still just kind of give us that ambiguous, well, I don't really know, which usually means it's nowhere near the numbers you're saying. So that's why we're trying to create these $1,000, $2,000 options for smaller businesses, because at the end of the day, we want to be working. We don't want to be sitting around, and we don't want to not have any cash flow because we're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for $10,000 jobs. We kind of spent the first quarter of the year doing that, in all honesty. We held our ground and said, no, we're holding out for these higher quality jobs. As the first quarter came to a close and we realized that wasn't happening, we said, okay, time to pivot, open the smaller packages. And so we've been trying to run these smaller packages so that we can get more work, because I understand the economy has been uncertain and budgets have been shrinking and people are not sure if they want to spend on video. So we get that while we want to be here and we can do this level of work, and we do still have clients who hire us for this level of work. We had a call this last week with a client who's going to bring us out for like a $20,000 project. It's all still pending, so can't count the chickens before they hatch. But we got a verbal yes on it. So like that work is still there, but as we're hopping from boulder to boulder, you need some pebbles to land on in the middle, and so that's why we're trying to create these smaller packages so that we can fill in those gaps. Ideally, we just want a whole line of boulders that we're just stepping over, but it's just not always the case. And as you are in this work, trying to find these higher end clients, especially like for us, we're not in a large market. We're in a smaller market. We're in Bakersfield, California, which, the Kern County is like 1 million people, but the city of Bakersfield is like 400,000. Our market is not huge. And so if you are trying to make it in a market that's not huge, like we're in the same boat. Now, if you're in a really small town with, 75,000 people, okay, that's different. And now you're dealing with all small mom and pop businesses. And that's when you're making your living, making $300 videos. And I don't really know how you make a living doing that. I guess your expenses are low and you just kind of do everything and you just keep it fast and simple and everything is really light. I guess you can make a living doing that with no overhead. But for us, trying to run a production company where we've got a lot of gear, we've got the grip truck, we've got insurance, we've got all these overhead things. And we don't even have a studio anymore. We used to have a studio, and that was a whole nother level of overhead. But we don't have that anymore, which has been fantastic to move to working from home. But there's still a lot of overhead in running a business. So we can't just go out for $50. And so we have to figure out how to make this work for us so that it's viable for clients and it's viable for us. You got to find that middle ground. And sometimes that means not charging the rate you wish you could charge, but a rate that's still enough. We don't want to say just discount yourself and, work super cheap and just grind and grinds. Like that's not what I preach. I'm not in the Gary V, just hustle your butt off and it'll eventually get there. Like, look, I believe in work-life balance. I have a family. I don't want to lose my family. I want to enjoy my family. I've got little kids. I want to enjoy those kids. Like, I'm not trying to be part of the hustle culture. I don't want to say be lazy. Like, we want to work hard, right? We want to do what we need to do. And so, like, I'm okay working at a lower rate to get work and feed my family. I'm not against working hard by any means, but how do we create packages that are appealing to clients? How do we create packages where we can at least get a foot in the door to have the conversation? Because for the last year, what we've been putting out on the website is to work with us is $5 to $25,000. And that's worked to get us those higher end jobs, which has been great. But there's just not been enough of those high end jobs that's all we can do. We'd love to be there. If you're there, let me know what you did to get there, because we'd love to be there. But we just haven't been able to get there. And so we have to do the high-end jobs and the low-end jobs in order to feed our families. We've also been working hard to get out of weddings. I spent 20 years building a career as a wedding videographer, and that went fantastic. For at least 10 years, we were making well over $100,000 a year in weddings, and that was great. But I was ready to move on, and we started building Story King a couple years ago as a separate brand. The wedding brand was Evermore Films, and we always did wedding and corporate. But when you're a wedding videographer, people just don't take you serious in the corporate world, and so they'll call you for the $1,000, $3,000 videos, but they're not calling you for the $10,000 videos because you're a wedding videographer. Hence, we launched Story King, and that changed the game for us because it changed the marketing. There's no weddings associated with Story King. And so when people see Story King, they see, oh, this is a corporate and commercial video production company. And that's all we put out, and that's what they see, and it works. And I spent a lot of time in that one-man band videographer world, so I understand that world. And I know a lot of you guys are in that world, and you can make a living there. I made a living there for years before I started building something bigger. So you can make a living there, but it's just all on you. And if you get sick, you don't make money. If you go on vacation, you don't make money. Like, you have a job. And I wanted something more than just a job, which is why I built a production company. So I'm just going to throw a disclaimer out there. Pricing is going to be different for every business. It's going to be different in every market. You have your own margins. You have your own expenses. You have your own, competition. You have your own, all of the factors that you need to consider for your market. So there is no such thing as a plug and play. This is the price for it universally, and I can just take that and apply it to me and my business in my city. You have to localize. You have to personalize that pricing. So any pricing you see online is always just a guide. So unless you're in a big production hub city like LA or some other big city where there's a whole lot of production and there's kind of a standard rate for a given thing, if you're in a smaller town, there's no established production hub, there's no established rates, everyone charges somewhere from here to here, then you really just got to figure it out. And it's a matter of convincing a client that it's worth paying what you want to charge them. And so that becomes sales and marketing and all these other things. So everything that I talk about in this video about pricing, take everything with a grain of salt. These are numbers that work for our company, in our market, at this time in 2025. So it also changes by year. Make sure you're raising your pricing, like 5% probably every year to adjust for cost of living and all the other things. You're going to be buying new gear. Like, there's no such thing as I'm not going to buy new gear. You're going to buy new gear because this is video production. Everybody in this industry has gear acquisition syndrome. So that's just what it is. The only people without gear acquisition syndrome are the people who are just truly producers at heart. And they're like, I'm still using a camera that's 10 years old and it makes me money and I don't care. Great. Good for you. You're making way more money than the rest of us. Thanks for being smart. But the rest of us slobs are down here enjoying video production. And so we have to have the latest camera, the latest lens, the latest light, or we're not happy because that's the people we are. So if you can get out of that, that's actually good business advice too. the more you can get out of the gear acquisition cycle. Like I try not to do too much. As I look around at all the gear on my shelf, clearly not doing a good job of not doing too much in that front. But hey, do your best to not buy every new shiny piece of gear that comes out, because it doesn't always have a return on investment for your business. If you enjoyed this video on pricing and how to price yourself in your business, please let me know in the comments. We make these videos for you, and I hope you enjoy them, because that is the goal.